Hello, my name is Boyd King. I'm an instructor at OSUIT in the air conditioning department. And today I have a very great honor of getting to talk to a pioneer of the air conditioning department, Mr. Alvin Arterbury. And Mr. Alvin Arterbury was a department here for several years. And so I'm going to interview him and just ask him some questions about things he remembers in the air conditioning department back in the day. So Mr. Arterbury, welcome. Glad to have you. I appreciate you coming in today and talking to us.
Glad to be here.
Yeah. So you had informed me that you came to campus here back in 1953.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about, as a student, some early memories that you have?
Well, of course, we were over in the old building, and I looked at those buildings when we got here. I had just gotten out of the Army, and I looked around and saw all these Army barracks, and I thought, man, I don't know about this, but I found out what was on the outside was not important. It was what was on the inside, and of course, inside they had a good program here, so that's why I enrolled in this, and well, that was a long time ago.
Long time ago. Yeah. So you graduated from here probably about 55-ish.
Yeah. Let's see, 53. About 55.
Right. And you went to work in Tulsa, Oklahoma, right?
Yes, I went to work there as a service technician.
Service technician.
And, air conditioning and heating, mostly.
I see. So in that time period, 1955, was there a lot of air conditioners and heaters in homes at that time, or primarily just heating?
Well, they had a lot of window units.
Right.
Not very many central units, but they had a lot of those window units. And of course, back then they had some of these swamp coolers.
Right.
They seem to work back then, but I don't think they do now.
Evaporative cooling, sure. Yeah.
Yes.
So, but they would still fail.
Oh, yes.
The motors would fail in them, and
Right.
sure. So you came back here after several years in the field and became a teacher first.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about that, what you were facing coming back as a teacher. I hear that you kind of had to develop part of the electrical controls lab yourself. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I was here one semester, and I taught air conditioning. And the second semester, about 3 or 4 weeks before my first semester was over, the department head came to me and said, starting next semester, we're going to have an electrical control lab. You're going to set it up and you're going to teach it.
Mm.
And didn't have much time to get things ready, but at any rate, so I was teaching, so I set up the electrical control class and taught it in the morning, and then in the afternoon I taught air conditioning. Back then we taught 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and the students, of course, were here 4 hours. They were here 4 hours every day for 5 days.
I see.
And of course, I know it's changed now, and probably for the better, but at least it changed through the years.
Sure.
But anyway, that's what I did. Is that first semester, second semester was teaching air conditioning and electrical controls, and it was my responsibility to set up something for the students to work on.
Right.
And speaking of a challenge, that was it. I didn't know about that, but it seemed to work out.
Sure did. It sure did. So if you walk into our lab today, there's been some things changed, and many things have not changed. And some of the things that is still around that we continue to use is our troubleshooting boards. A lot of different colors in this lab when we give tours and things. a lot of greens and blues, but there's, in my opinion, this is really genius, because what we do is we take a simple electrical diagram, post it on the board, and then we're able to bug or put trouble into that board so that students can learn how to use their meter to find the problem. And this hasn't been around forever. Give me some ideas of where you came up with this, if you had seen boards like this before.
No, I hadn't seen anything like this before. My background, I worked for 3 years for Halliburton in Duncan, and I worked in the electrical department, and I had some experience there. And then when they drafted me in the Army in 1951, I took a radio repair course.
Right.
And there was a lot of electrical in there, not like what we have here. But then when I came here, I don't know how I came up with it. It was there, and I did it.
Very genius.
Well, I don't know about genius.
We appreciate you for that.
Well, anyway, whatever.
Sure. You know, being able to teach this lab currently, if you look at textbooks today, they teach us to take the wires off of things and use our own meter to ohm things out. And we teach in the air conditioning department how to troubleshoot things live.
Right.
We do, of course, do it safely, but you don't miss problems like that. We call it today our troubleshooting Bible. But when you have volts at something and you have no amps, it's open. And when you have amps and you have no volts, it's shorted. And you don't find that in textbooks today.
No, they don't have that. But anyway, it's good that still have this.
Sure, sure. So if you could tell us something as a department head when you were here, something that you would have considered to be a major skill for your students to get while they was a student in the air conditioning department.
Say that again.
What would be maybe the main skill, whether it be a personality skill or an actual air conditioning skill that you would want them to have before they graduated?
I think all of that. We did a lot of teaching, and I'm sure you do, about what do you do when you go to someone's house to work on your air conditioning. If it's muddy out there, you take your shoes off, and maybe you brought some house shoes or something with you. And
Sure.
you take that. And we taught them to be honest and not try to gig someone. So that was part of the training, not just how to troubleshoot,
That's right.
but how to do the job right with dealing with the customer, so forth and so on. But I think you probably still do that.
Yeah, we try to, and that's something I know. When I was going to school here, I had Mike Brannon. Mike Brannon, you hired him as a teacher here, and he had me as a student. He had two of my older brothers as a student, and that is one thing I remember that was talked about every day. It was more than the electrical side of things, more than the mechanical side of things. It was really just being a good, well-rounded person.
Yes. I think I mentioned to you earlier, Mike Brannon was one of my students, like in 1968, something like that. And then after he graduated, he went to Texas. He probably told you all this. Then later, he came back as an instructor, and I was still an instructor at that time.
Mm-hmm.
He came back. And then when I became department head, well, I appointed him to be the assistant department head. And that's the way it was when I retired in 1992.
Well, Mr. Arterbury, we're going to wrap it up, but is there anything that you would like to add, that you'd like to tell our students today, or alumni that has went through here? Anything that you'd like to tell them about our department?
Well, I'll tell them that this is the best department on campus.
We agree.
And back when I was here, we thought that we were the best. And I would tell them that they're getting into a real good field, pays well, and I think they would really enjoy the troubleshooting part of it.
Yes.
I think that's the strong suit of this department today, is how do you go out and find an electrical problem?
Right.
You know, well, there's other things too, but I think probably today here, I think that you would consider troubleshooting as one of the things that the students really need.
Sure. Mr. Arterbury, I sure appreciate your time.
Thank
It
you.
was a great pleasure having you come in.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.